and Alhamdulillah. Guys, tonight is about, like I said, it's about dreaming big. It's about leadership. It's about building. And it's about the youth and the destiny that we want to build for our communities. At times, especially when things are difficult, at times where new narratives, negative narratives are being created about our community. We want to expose those narratives, and we got to say that's not us, and we want to continue to rebuild and continue the path that have been set by the elders and the forerunners who have started and developing to those categories. So not to be labeled as what the naysayers and the haters and the bigots are saying, but rather build something for ourselves. And to show that we have that proof, and many of those proofs and role models are sitting in front of us, starting with our executive. Many of them came here as elders here, and older generations that came here as refugees that showed the resilience of how they came here. Allah is here with us. Many of them, they came here as fathers already in that age, and some of them were older than them, but they restarted. They didn't give up. So for the younger generation to show us that we cannot give up. So their resilience is something that we build on, and we continue to say we come from this generation. This is the generation we came from, but then not of a generation of failures. So we want to build on that. That is the dream today. We want to talk about health. We want to talk about our health. We want to talk about the negativity of drug and what it does. We want to talk about mental health, not to be shy about, not taboo, but we also want to talk about education, how and we are doing and how we need to be doing and where you need to be at. That's why we have everybody here invited today, inshallah. So, and I'm going to start with Dr. Shafi Muhammad, who grew up here. We've been known each other almost for 30 years now here in Rochester, going through the Rochester public schools, all the way now today becoming a physician consultant here at Mayo Clinic, where he grew up and his home and giving back to his community. We need doctors who speak our language, who understand our culture, who know where we come from and who look like us. That makes a huge difference. We know historically what that means in this country. When a person of colors walks in, what advocacy they need, especially when some of us don't have the language capacity to do so. So inshallah, without further ado, I want to welcome Dr. Shafi to share with us some of his journeys and some of the challenges that he has faced, and the next generation, how we set up and make sure that we make the path easier for them, inshallah. So welcome, Dr. Shafi. Background ko halaaw cunto isu bedel. I don't think we have that food, but we have some food. Don't worry, inshallah. If you're hungry, we'll feed you, inshallah.
Salah, thank you for the introduction, and thank you for the invitation from Mr. Umar, and thank you for everyone for coming here. My name is Ahmed Muhammad. I'm also known as Shafi'i. And I grew up here in Rochester. For the people that haven't met here, most of you I recognize, and it's good to see familiar faces. In terms of following the theme of this event today, Dream, Build, and Lead, I just want to let you know that when I grew up here in Rochester, having come from Somalia and not knowing the language, starting from first grade and trying to adapt to this new culture, I really didn't know what I was going to do until I got to maybe middle school, high school, and I started to develop interests based on what I was learning. So that's around the time when I started to have this dream of becoming a doctor someday, because I was helping my grandmother with her health conditions, and I saw how my mom was taking care of her, and I had an interest in science. So at that time, I was trying to figure out what am I good at? What do I want to do eventually? And just like other kids from our community, I also had hoop dreams. So I wanted to play basketball as a professional someday. But the big reality is that's not something that many people get to accomplish. So I practiced every single day. But I also made sure that I did well in school. And that's something that my parents have instilled in me from childhood, and something that I think everyone here will encourage you to do, speaking to the youth here. Make sure that you're prepared to do well in all aspects of your life, and that's what's going to set you up for success, even if one path doesn't turn out to be the path you eventually take. So hoop dreams kind of went out of the way halfway through high school. knowing that this is not going to be a reality based on how things were going. But school-wise, things kept going well, and alhamdulillah, that allowed me to have an interest in different fields. Science being the main thing, and the influence from my experience with my grandmother, I wanted to become a physician. Now, this is the part where dream needs to turn into reality, and I needed some guidance, because a lot of times having a dream and knowing how to get there don't always line up. Some people have a straight path, some people have a path that takes a few different turns. So at that time, I had, knowing myself, I set up a plan, but I needed to run it by other people. So that's when I started to ask for help and talk to people that were already steps ahead of me or already have reached the goal that I wanted to reach. So I received some guidance from them and took their advice. That resulted in me changing things that I had originally planned by myself by doing my own research. You hear that term a lot. So I made sure that I followed the path that they had chosen, the path that they advised me to take. I went to the University of Minnesota out of Mayo High School and RCTC doing PSEO. So try to build my base and then making sure that I take the path that I was advised to take by my mentors. I had mentors who were in medical school, I had mentors who were physicians, and all of that was very helpful. All of that made me change plans multiple times because I needed to make sure that I did what was actually going to work rather than what I thought was going to work. So that's something that I would advise the youth to do. Talk to people that are in positions that you want to eventually reach. Then once I got to medical school, I went to medical school at Michigan State University, and I want to first say that this path also has a lot of uncertainty because it was not a direct path from college to medical school. I had a year where I did some research. I had to build my base. I had to apply to multiple medical schools. I got into Michigan State eventually. But there was a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of stress. There are a lot of nights where I have to think about whether I'm going to receive letters from schools, whether I'm going to do well on an interview. So all that stress is something that I think needs some kind of outlet, some support, not only from your family, your friends, but you need a community that if you are having a problem, you can turn to and get some guidance. So I just want to let you know that it's not always going to be very easy building to get to your dream. Then once you reach that dream, alhamdulillah, after I finished medical school, I was able to do well enough to go to residency. Alhamdulillah, I had a pick of anywhere that I wanted to go, and I came back to Rochester and did my internal medicine residency at Mayo. Then now, alhamdulillah, 4 or 5 years later, it's almost 10 years now since I graduated medical school, exactly 10 years, I'm here trying to advise the next generation. I hope you're able to take the advice of everyone who comes here because each person gives you a different perspective. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, please reach out to me. Everyone here can give you my contact information. Assalamu alaikum.